Hi everyone, this is Donnie Chen from www.ThisWeekIn.Asia. We're a source for news and interviews with leaders, game changers, and risk takers from around Asia. Now today we have Bharat Ahirwar. Did I get that right?
Yeah, you did.
Perfect. And his company is called Getmypeon.
Yeah.
I got that right too, right?
Yes, you did.
Perfect. Now, Getmypeon is a Mumbai-based errand running same-day delivery service. Now, Bharat Ahirwar started Getmypeon with only 20,000 Indian Rupee, and that equates to only a little bit over $300. Now, fast forward to today, 2.5 years later, Getmypeon has now secured a first-round seed funding of approximately $250,000. Now, thank you for being with us today, Bharat. We're very excited to have you.
Same here.
Now, in addition to talking about your company, we would really like to get to know the man behind Getmypeon, and we would like to talk about some of your struggles and your stories. But first, can we kind of just start the interview by you introducing what Getmypeon is and what does that name mean and what problem is it trying to solve?
Sure. So Getmypeon ideally started in 2012, and while I was starting Getmypeon, I was looking for a business name that could represent running errands in India. And when I started talking to people and clients and telling them this is what I want to do, so everybody would say, "Oh, it's like a peon service," because basically in India, you for any paperwork, any running around, you just call the peon and he does all the running around for you. Okay, and that's the way we got the name Getmypeon.
So peon means like an errand or?
Yeah, errand runner.
Errand
in
runner.
India,
Oh,
errand runner.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Now,
so that's how we started the name as Getmypeon.
Oh, okay. So you guys want to try to help people solve that problem of running errands and delivery services that people might have to kind of wade through all the traffic and whatnot. And you try to eliminate all of that for your clients.
Yeah.
I see.
So basically, that's what the whole idea also started, because what happened is when I realized that in fact, personally, I realized that I always needed help to run errands. I'm the eldest son in my family, and I had to help my father, I had to help my mother. Sometimes the neighbor, okay, you're going here, go get this done. And I used to always think, why isn't there anybody who could I can outsource? And the immediate person we could look at is a watchman and a maid, housemaid, but they refrained from doing any of it. Because again, it's a matter of availability, capability.
I see.
Both has to be there. The person has to be available, plus he has to be capable. And that's where the idea got struck that why don't I start a service which can help an individual in Bombay, especially in India, if I look at it that way now, to run errands. So let's say I'm an employee, I'm working in an MNC, or I'm a home baker, or I'm a housewife. I always need something to be done, like whether it's picking up groceries, sending an important document, or if I forgot my laptop or I've broken my laptop, I have to go to the service center, and a lot more things like that. And that's how Getmypeon got started.
So you're basically your parents outsourced their task to you, and then you outsourced it to somebody else, kind of, so to speak. So what challenges were you faced with when you were getting started 2.5 years ago?
Yeah, the first challenge was because it was a purely new concept to India, and especially people in Bombay. A lot of people didn't understand that, is this something that could be outsourced? Second challenge was hiring, in fact, because I remember my first employee who's still with us, and he came for an interview, and I told him, listen, all you have to do is go reach a location, the address that I give you one time, collect whatever they give, and deliver whatever they give. He just looked at my face and he said, how much are you going to pay me? So, okay, this is what you get. Then he was like, okay, no problem. I'll do it for the money.
Yeah.
Didn't realize what he's doing. And I was like, okay, I think this is not a good explanation. But I still remember it because he's still there with us. And when we talk in general, he knows that, the first interview, what I had.
So do you have any problems interviewing people in the future now? Like, explaining your company now in the future to these employees?
Not really. The problem was understanding from the other side, not explaining. Because the people have not ever done a job like that. Where in India especially, people are used to working with one employer and running only his errands, and not multiple people's errands. If I had and tell him, hey, this is your salary for the whatever next amount of years you just run for me. But now here changing the concept. Hey, you run for me, you run for my neighbor, you run from somebody else, that way. So that was a little difficult part. Second problem we did face was marketing and hiring.
Uh-huh.
Marketing in terms of making people understand what all can they do. Because we do everything which falls under the legal category, whether it's delivering medicine, medical report, or now it's picking up guests from airport or getting your car servicing, getting your bike servicing done. Earlier, it's trying to add on. So people had a lot of difficulty understanding of what Getmypeon does.
So
now,
sorry, go ahead.
So now it's pretty clear. After about 2 years now, people understand that if they have anything in the city to be done, they can just give us a call.
I see. So with all these services you guys do, which service gets used the most?
Moreover is the parcel delivery,
Cake
delivery, parcel delivery, cake delivery, and the third one I would say is receiving guests at the airport or dropping them at the railway stations. And the fourth one is giving car and bike for servicing.
Sorry, what was the last one?
The car and bike for servicing. So we've introduced a service where, let's say you want to get your car cleaned or taken to the service center, you don't have the time. Our executive will come, collect the car, and then go take it to the service center and deliver it back to you.
Oh, I see. Very nice, very nice. And service too, right? So they don't even have to worry about it themselves. Yeah. Oh, very nice. So what's the revenue business model? How much does it cost for your service?
So we have a ticket size from rupees 200 till 1500. Now that's depending on the service you take. So for example, it's as simple as running an errand from point A to point B. It will cost you 200 rupees. If you say, hey, send me a man, I have some house painting work happening and I'm not at home. I want somebody to be stationed there for 3 hours. That's going to cost anywhere between 500 rupees. If you say, I'm going for a conference, I need a man with me who could just help me collect all the brochures from all the stalls. That would be about 9 hours. That would cost 1,500 rupees. So we do like a lot of things, like a man on hire, running errands, and the ticket size varies from 200 to 1,500.
I see. So to put that into a dollars perspective, it's approximately $3 to around $20, depending on the time and the type of service.
Exactly.
I see. Okay. Now, what growth have you been seeing in terms of sales, customers? What kind of metrics can you perhaps give us?
As of now, I can see a growth of 20% every month.
Oh wow, that's
my
really
current last 6 month status. I have seen our numbers going up. In the last 6 months, if I have to say, I've literally seen numbers going up. When I started, I remember we used to do 2 errands a day, and currently we do anywhere between 150 to 200 errands a day.
Wow,
so that's in about 2 years.
So how many employees do you have to run all this?
I have about more than 60 people on field right now.
Oh, wow.
We're adding about 50 more. So we'll make a team of about 100, 150 by the end of next month.
Well, I never knew the task running can grow that big. I thought it would be, 10, 20, 30 tops. But we're talking about...
In fact, this is just talking about Bombay. If I look at cities like Pune, Delhi, Chennai, I might have to have as big a 100 people team in each city.
Well, that explains how you were able to get the seed funding of $250,000. But so now, how were you able to get your company in front of these vital investors to get that much money for Mumbai?
It happened to be very fortunate. So the investor we met is also a client, and he understood the need of the business. He said, and he said, I have used your company twice in situation where my staff was not able to do it. And that's where I realized that if I'm able to use it, in spite of having a big staff, that means there's a need for this. And that's where the whole, turnaround happened. And he's like, so then of course we told him about the business, the growth, the plans. And he said, okay. And we figured out what has to be done. That's why he said, okay, you know what, let's start with this small amount. According to him, it's a small amount. He said, let's start with this. Why don't we, get things in place, and then we'll see what happens next.
Well, that's very fortunate. So you serve one of your more of your high-end clients, and he saw this need, and he said, "Well, wow, everybody needs this, and my staff can't do it. You guys can do it. Then why don't your business become my business?" So that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. Now, what will you be spending this capital on? I mean, will you be thrown into the internal infrastructure? Or what would it be?
So we have a roadmap in place, and what we're going to do is we're also going to do rebranding for our company, okay? Because we want to now play internationally. So we're looking at rebranding. We're looking at launching an app in about 90 days, and we're looking at going at least 3 cities by the end of this year. So the money that we raise is going to go to these 3 milestones.
Oh, okay. So in terms of the do you guys use any sort of internal software to kind of manage these?
It's also building the backend technology. Sorry. So
Uh,
we're building an entire. We're gonna be basically from a service. We're gonna move to a tech company. So we'll be completely tech, where the backend would be as simple as snapping a finger. So as a client who can just log on to the app, put a request, it will go automatically, get it assigned to the executive. The executive will be there on time, pick it up, get it delivered. Client gets back a message, and it's done.
that's beautiful. You know what? It's almost like Uber for tasks, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
so
yeah.
there's no app right now. Would it be?
As if we've been managing this company without any app. The best possible option right now is WhatsApp,
Uh-huh.
Facebook, and we do get tasks from Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp is very common now because we don't have an app. Client just WhatsApp us the task. Say, hey, get this done, get this done.
Oh wow, that's actually very inspiring. So, how can you maybe describe how it's like setting up a business in Mumbai? What are some of the good and bad points for it? Because I mean, it's a really hustle bustle, city. Uh,
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit
Well,
about it?
uh, of course, there are a lot of government procedures that has to be taken care of, but it's not that difficult to start. Not to start up. Like you could, secure a domain. You can get your team. In the meanwhile, it takes about a month, 60 days to register a few documents, which is completely easy. If you're a proprietor company, it's also like a 5 day process. It's not that long. So it just that also in the back end, because now the ruling party has changed and they're changing the laws. So it's going to be much more easier. 2 years ago when we started, it was a little difficult, but now it's much more easier to start a company in Bombay. India, I would say. Not Bombay.
So the ecosystem is actually it's abundant, right? I mean, there's a lot of support.
It's getting better day by day.
Very nice. So I kind of want to move back and talk about you yourself as an entrepreneur. Can you tell us about your journey, maybe a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are now and why you chose to start a company?
Sure. I So let me give you a little brief background. I started working at the age of 16, and this was because my father denied me pocket money. I said, okay, no problem. You know what? I'm going to earn my own money, and I'm going to pay my own whatever I have to do. So I started working very early. So by the time I did my college, I was already working. Finished my college, got my graduation, did my arts graduation in arts, and I said, I don't want to study further. I want to work because I thought I had a skill of business. I have a skill of PR. I have a skill of marketing. So I joined as a business development guy
Mm-hmm.
in this very private company here. So I joined it here. Then after that, I moved into PR. After that, I moved into airlines. After that, I started working with startups. So I worked with about 4 startups for a good three to 4 years. And then I realized that, okay, I have a skill to support startup. And all this while I was not thinking I'm going to run my own business. I'm like, okay, I have a skill. I'm going to support. I'm going to just grow by that. But then I think in 2009, something happened, and then I realized that I could start up. So I started my first company, which was called At Your Service,
Uh-huh.
which failed, which practically failed in a year.
Why, why,
And I
why did
learned
it fail?
because couldn't match the number. It was a virtual personal assistant service company
Okay.
where you used to provide secretaries, online secretaries, to CEOs, CFOs of companies.
Mhm.
So that never worked. 1 year couldn't match the numbers, couldn't pay salaries on time, so things didn't work out. So, but while I was doing that, when I met about 3,000 people in Bombay,
Mhm.
and everybody told me, Bharat, can we have somebody who could just run around for us and not, we don't need a personal assistant, we need somebody to run around. And that's where the idea got struck that running errands is a business and we could definitely start providing the service. That's where I realized that even I needed help in the past, but there was nobody. And
I
that's how
see.
Getmypeon got started.
I see. So as an entrepreneur, you saw the problem and you basically try to solve it. Now, previous to that, the virtual assistant, it's everywhere. Everybody, there's already virtual assistants everywhere, and you kind of try to feed that market, but it didn't pan out. So you saw the problem and then you solved it, and here we are. I
Yes.
see. Now, getting that funding, that must be like an how would you say, it's like a gratification that you are now cemented as an actual entrepreneur and you got this funding. What was your reaction personally when you got that funding?
Actually, when I got the funding, firstly, I was happy. I was very happy. I said, my God, I didn't expect to be funded because, in all honesty, when I met previous investors, I met a few angel investors.
Yeah.
People would tell me, oh, I'll give you 50,000 rupees and I'll give you 2 lakh rupees, I'll give you 5 lakh rupees. I go with this gut feel every time, and I knew that this is not what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, money, but I don't know if the guy would help me to grow further or not.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we had possibilities, but we never took it. And I said, no, I'm going to run it on my own. But when I got this funding, I did my due diligence and realized who the guy is, where does he come from, what experience, how is he going to help me grow further? Because this is not the money I wanted to only raise. I want to see how we can grow further.
Mm-hmm.
So with the money comes a lot of experience in retail, a lot of what do you call it, future vision, which he could help us guide the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I think that's the strength, because he realizes that there's a team which can deliver, and if guided well, we could do better. I think that's where we are right now.
So it's very important who you take money from. I mean, money is it's out there, but it's really important who you actually work with in the future. So can we take that a little step back? How were you able to meet your, say, co-founders or your team? How were you able to surround yourself with a team that helped you to get to where you are now?
Co-founder thing is very interesting, in fact. So last year I had this client who would call us twice every week and send us to the High Court to collect documents. And it was a very interesting task. So I was like, oh wow, somebody's using us for a very high quality work.
Yeah.
And I get a call from this client, and he says, why don't you come and meet me? I said, I would like to meet you. So I said, no problem. So we go and meet, and I see this very young 24-year-old guy, sitting in an office. So I'm like surprised. I said, okay, hi. So then he starts talking about, this is my father's business and I work here. I work in business development. And I really like what you do. In fact, this is something that I always wanted to do. It was in my head, but I could never do it. Is there any way we could collaborate and I could work with you?
That's awesome.
And I realized that then we started meeting once, twice, thrice. After a few meetings, we realized that we both complement each other, which is most important. Like he's completely hardcore into business. I'm completely into operational. I run the operational hardcore. He runs the business hardcore. Where to go, what to do next. And that's how I got my co-founder. So even my co-founder is a client turned co-founder.
Wow, that's beautiful. You started a company and everything just kind of, magnetized towards you. So now you have your team, you have the funding. What is expansion like at Getmypeon? Where do you see your company in 5 years?
In 5 years, we plan to be at least in 2 international cities. We're looking at Indonesia, Jakarta, Dubai, Thailand. We're looking at that for sure. There's 4 countries we're looking at, to be honest. And within India, we need to be at least in 8 cities. We're looking at tier 1, tier 2 both.
Oh, I see. Very nice, very nice. Now, this pretty much sums up the interview. Do you perhaps have anything that you would like to add?
No, I think it's great. It's a great platform. It's the first time I've been interviewed on Skype. I'm very happy about it, and I want to know when it goes live. But to everyone who wants to start up out there, I think leave your job, and this is the time to start. Don't look at funding. Don't look at money. If you have something, start, and things will fall in place. Is what I would say.
That is a very beautiful, very sound advice. And we can leave our interview at that. Now, Bharat Ahirwar, thank you very much for taking your time with us today. It was a pleasure to interview you. Now, for more information on Getmypeon, please go to www.getmypeon.com. That's getmypeon.com. And also, you, our viewers, perhaps you yourself or know of anyone who's disrupting, risk-taking, making a difference in Asia. We would love to showcase them. Thank you for watching. I'm Donnie Chen from ThisWeekIn.Asia. Thank you.
Thank you.